Welcome back, chaps and lasses, if you're all watching. So where are we now? Well, pistons. I've cleaned up the pistons, taken the rings out. I find the best way to clean up the grooves is to go through the groove or round the groove with a bit of broken piston ring, so it actually scrapes all the muck out. And then obviously give it a petrol bath. If you're lucky enough to have a sonic bath, then I think that will probably do a better job. But even then, you might have to scratch it a little bit to get some of the really caked on coke, debris, burnt on, whatever out. So the rings are on. When I took these pistons out, I didn't take the actual circlip out from that side. I've left them in, and the reason I've left them in is because at one point I wasn't going to take the engine out, and I have a little trick which works on some engines but not others, and that is to put all the pistons in the block and then wedge the block in such a way, which you'll probably see later, and then tap the two inner pistons down, and then just when it's at a point where you can line up the gudgeon pin with the big end, obviously the big end needs to be further up than that, or the conrod I should say, line it up and pop the gudgeon pin in, and if it gives you the line up which you'd hope, it will go right through and attach the piston to the conrod. Let's see how we go. There we go. That's one in. Now that's an unusual fit because it's not too tight. If it's tight, it can be a pain. It can be a real pain. So that's number one done. Now obviously there is always a risk here of dropping stuff into the bore. You really don't want that. So that was just a demonstration. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to close the mouth of the casing off with rags and stuff, because we don't want anything going down there. Right, so that's one done. Let's see if I can jack the front of the engine up a bit higher to make that block level. Going to stop the camera there, folks. I'm going to need to find some wood. I don't know if you can see, but the block's a bit level now, and this is quite important because we don't want these flopping about all over the place. It can be tricky putting the block on, but we'll see how we go. So I'm going to just put the other piston in now. I think I might put a bit of a little bit of rag paper down the cam chain tunnel, just to make sure. Let's see what we can do now with that. That's number one. It's on the wrong one. Number two. Now we're putting it on number two. So let's take that out. Number three conrod. Okay, I've done the other two pistons and it was very tricky to position it, so I'm hoping I can show you the way I put the circlips in piston number 1. First of all, I'm going to give it a little bit of lube. Just check that. Now this does make a difference, of course. If you've got a nice fit on the gudgeon pin, sometimes called the wrist pin, it does help. So we're going to put that down there. We're going to see if we can line it up. There we go, and in it goes. The arrow's pointing forward on the top of the crown of the piston, so we know that's the right way round. Just going to... Where's my rag gone? Wipe my hands now. The last one I did, the first one I did went in well. The second one was a pig. This one, which is piston number 1, starting from the left hand side if you were sitting on the bike, I'm going to see if I can put that one in now. So let's see how we go. Certainly well sealed. Good old Dave at Side Bikes seals it up well. So the pliers I'm using are these. They're snub nosed in relation to these, which are really long nosed. I suppose you call them needle pliers. They're too flimsy at the end and they don't have any grip, so they're no good. So we'll put them down. We'll have a go at doing this one and see if this one goes in a bit easier than number 3 piston. The trick is to try and push that bit there. I don't know if you can see it. This bit here, the end, in, and then twist and bend the pin over a little bit. Sorry, bend the circlip over a little bit so that it clips into the groove. But it doesn't always work. Let's see how we go. That one went straight in. Just seat at home. Hear the clip or the click, and I can look at that with a torch and I can see, I don't know if you guys can see, that is all the way home in the groove. Now some pins, they have a cross bit there which makes it easier. So the pin is a C and then it has like the letter G piece that goes across the middle, and it makes it a lot easier to put in, but these don't. But it's not a big deal provided you line it up and you're patient and you just line it up and keep your finger on it with a bit of pressure so it doesn't ping off somewhere. You can line them up into the groove and then just click them in so they're home and seated as they should be. And I can always check that by just moving that a little bit. That's right, that's nice. And I can see that is now well and truly in the groove. Nothing like being in the groove. There we are. Both ends of the circlip. So that gudgeon pin won't now come out unless that circlip fails, which I don't think they will. Anyway, it's all good. Good stuff. So that's number 1 piston on. Now I'm going to turn the engine round. Camera may wobble a little bit. You have to excuse me guys when I turn it round and get ready for number 4 piston. Number 1 and 4 top dead center, which makes it a bit easier. I'm going to put my bit of paper rag around the conrod, just in case. You never know. So that's up like that. So let's go and get number 4 piston. Going to give it a generous lube. A little bit of lube on the gudgeon pin as well. Let's do a dry run. Get the piston the right way round. Excuse me. I can feel the oil giving you that lube now. So oil up the conrod. And I'm just going to put that down a sec while I move it round, so you can hopefully see it. Let's just line you up. So we'll line that one up there. Get the feel. Yep, there he goes. He's home. Wobble him a little bit, get a bit of lube. And this is now the final circlip on piston number 4. So let's go and get him. I don't know if you guys can see this very well. I'll try and move the camera a bit closer. We're working here. Sorry about the LED flip around lines on the screen. LEDs do that. Let's see how we go. So I grip him tight. Oh, now that would have gone in the bore. See how that fell out and the paper saved it. And there we are. When I look at that on my torch, you can see he's well and truly in the groove all the way around. Push the gudgeon pin that way to check. Push the gudgeon pin the other way to check. And that's not coming out. There we are. So, all 4 pistons now located on their conrods, the appropriate conrods. Just to give you an idea what it looks like from a different angle. There we are.